2022, the year where everything gets delayed, including this video. Now, I've played like over 60 different games last year. Some good and some not so good.
Can't believe I can't.
I'm losing my marbles, chat.
Let's take a look at the best games I played in 2022, and since it's my first time doing this, I will note 3 things. This list only includes games I played, so don't expect God of War Ragnarok to be on this list. This list includes games that did not come out in 2022, so older games like Sonic Colors can appear on this list. And finally, this list includes only games I've beaten for the first time, because if I don't enable this rule, Donkey Kong Country 2 will win every single year. Now let's get started. Banjo-Kazooie! This is a game I played a little bit as a kid, but I finally beat it for the first time after, let's open up the Wikipedia page. 25 years ago. Cool. This game has a ton of charm with cute and whimsical characters, some catchy tunes, and very, very memorable maps. It certainly has a ton of flaws, like a very confusing overworld and some really, really awful levels. Oh god, not to mention the final boss. Anyways, I can see why many people today have fond memories of this well-beloved classic. Speaking of beloved classics, Sonic's latest entry in its inconsistent franchise, Sonic Frontiers, barely makes this list. Ever since its first announcement, I didn't have high expectations for the game, which turns out was the right amount of expectations for it. Ever since Sonic has leaped into 3D, it's had a bit of identity crisis, which is frankly an understatement. It tries to be that mid-2000s edgy, it tries to be Final Fantasy, it tries to be Mario, it tries to be Mario again, and now it's trying to be Breath of the Wild. The game is overall not very well thought out, with lots of things that felt tacked on just for the sake of being there, like a skill tree which you can max out before finishing the second world, ugly looking rails that were just placed without rhyme or reason, and then the absolute worst final boss in the entire Sonic franchise, which was randomly a shoot-'em-up section? That being said, of all the 3D Sonic games, Frontiers felt by far the best to play. Sonic moves fast, but he's snappy. The boosting mechanic works really well, the character interactions are fantastically written, and definitely the best story Sonic has had so far, and it might be my favorite soundtrack of any Sonic game. The game is just a ton of fun despite its flaws, and I'm sure Sonic Team is definitely taking notes on player feedback, right? Right? Every year I always like trying out a bunch of indie games, and of the ones I played this year, Chicory, A Colorful Tale is certainly the one that stayed with me the most. Chicory is about insert favorite food here, who, due to just pure happenstance, gains a magical brush and must return color to the world. It's a game that's all about art, and it isn't pretentious about it, which I didn't know it was possible. You play the game with a mouse and keyboard, but if you have a tablet, you can actually play the entire game drawing and coloring in the world using your pen, which was really awesome. The thing I liked the most was the colorful cast of characters. Pun totally intended. Each of the characters have their own arc that, as someone who creates art as a hobby, felt extremely relatable. I adored this game and it deserves a lot more recognition. Play this game.
Pikachu!
The open world Pokemon game we've all been waiting for, Pokemon! Scarlet! I like both this and Legends Arceus a lot, but Scarlet is the experience that was definitely more impactful for me. Arceus' story was very, very boring and so long-winded it made me not want to play the game. But in comparison, the story in Scarlet is the best since it's been Gen 5, and probably my personal favorite story. The character arcs were good, the Pokemon designs are fantastic, and my Dunsparce evolved into a Dunsparce. It's perfect, it's genius. Game Freak has really topped themselves with this one. A gameplay mechanic that's really fucking ugly, but really, really engaging, and overall, just a fun Pokemon game. I just wish it didn't run like complete ass. Penny, you're floating in the air. You are literally Jesus right now. Penny, come back! Penny, no! Oh, okay, there she is. She's fine. Phasmophobia, the detective ghost hunting game, is a game I keep coming back to. Originally when it came out, I really didn't understand the hype behind it, but this year I gave it an honest try and it's super fun. I had never played a game quite like it, and I love a game that can make me use my brain. Each run is different, there's a consistent flood of updates, and the endless fun with friends just keeps bringing me back. It's also very, very funny to troll your friends.
No, I didn't hear anything. No! 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 It was you? Yeah,
I did my annual ranking where I place every game I've played for the year and see what comes out on top. And I was surprised to see Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Or is it Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Or is it Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Where does the colon go again? Anyway, I was surprised to see it reach top 5, probably because the story wasn't memorable and the characters were pretty weak. Besides the primary antagonist though, whose voice is just pure sex.
They would never have found me if it wasn't for her.
Oh no, she's hot! But looking back on the gameplay, it was a ton of fun, with satisfying parries and neat force tricks. The boss fights were some of the best fights I've ever had in a video game. It's weird to say, but I think I overall enjoyed the gameplay of this over Sekiro, which was just a frustrating experience for me. I hope the sequel coming out this year doesn't suck ass. If you ever played Final Fantasy XIV, you would never be surprised to see its most popular expansion, Shadowbringers, enter any best of lists. The writing is top tier, the music is phenomenal, and it sports the best dungeons so far. I have some major gripes of FF14's story, like how death never matters, obvious filler quests, pacing issues, but overall the characters are just so well developed with some very, very emotional bits. If I enjoyed MMO's gameplay more, it'd be higher on my list. I've played every mainline 3D Sonic game for the first time this year. Some were great, some not so great. Oh, here we go, I won't press anything this time. I still win anyways. But overall, the best game of the bunch is definitely Sonic Generations, hands down. Unleashed introduced the base mechanics, colors throughout the trashy Warhawk sections, and Generations polished the game to a T. The level design is just really engaging, so much so they're still using it 10 years later. And experiencing the classic 2D stages in 3D for the first time and vice versa was awesome. It's a shame the final boss is so lame, and the game is just way too short even with the padded section.
Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
Don't lie to him, Sonic! Sonic, please! He's already peaked, okay? He is 2D Sonic! There's a reason that Elden Ring is at the top of most people's lists. It took the already amazing Souls gameplay and threw it onto a very well-made open world. Personally, I feel like the Souls series has generally gotten worse with each entry, but this is the first time I've liked the Souls game this much since Dark Souls 1, which is one of my favorite games of all time. The weapon variety, the amazing unique environments, the expansive dungeons, the boss fights, the lore! There's just so much to do, and after spending over 170 hours on the game, I still feel like I haven't seen everything. The only thing preventing this from being at the top of the list is the absolutely unfair boss fights. Stop input reading, you bitch! He's input reading! Horribly unbalanced gear at launch, and unrewarding treasures which led to some very infuriating moments. The game is still great, and almost any other year would probably be number 1. Sonic Mania and Colors are fantastic Sonic games that would appear in a top 10 list if I didn't already have 2 Sonic games on it. Resident Evil 5 was one of my favorite streams of last year with incredible moments. Cool!
Yeah, we got this.
But the story and inventory management just sucks! Zelda plus dating sim equals Prodigal, a noteworthy game that has gotten next to no attention. It doesn't have the most engaging gameplay for me personally, but I do love me some waifus.
Yeah, we're back home. This money could go far. Maybe I could buy new shoes to step on you with. Holy shit!
DNF Duel is an amazing fighting game with amazing netcode. Too bad no one fucking plays it. Balan Wonderworld was so bad that Yuji Naka got arrested for developing it. When I think about games that I enjoyed playing the most in 2022, Splatoon 3 is the first thing that Squid jumps into mind. The campaign just made me smile more than anything else this year. While the Soul series to me has varied in quality, Splatoon has gotten better with each iteration. 1 established the mechanics, 2 balanced the multiplayer, Octo expansion created a very, very engaging campaign, and 3 does all those things, but better. The music is nothing but bangers, the levels are a ton of fun, the campaign has one of my favorite climaxes ever. The multiplayer, on the other hand... No! God damn it! Let me play! The multiplayer, on the other hand, has some very infuriating connection issues and an insultingly low tick rate. Progression is also a terrible grind, with adding abilities to your gear being a huge chore. And while I love the addition of a catalog, it can get very grindy, especially if you can't get that first win of the day bonus because your team decided taking a dip in the ocean was a more fun activity. That said, there was also a ton of improvements from the previous games, like a much better lobby system, semi-run available all the time. I have no idea why this was limited before. And the biggest improvement of them all, you can finally skip the Splatcast. But all that said, I still play the multiplayer every week. I absolutely love the campaign, and it's something I just always fondly think back on. And that was my top 10 games of 2022. A decent-ish years for games, but I look forward to what 2023 has in store. I'm sure Tears of Kingdom will make top 10 lists just as Elden Ring did last year, and I can't wait to work through my backlog. Yeah,